Hi.
Hello. How can I help?
Yes, I have a RF28HFEDTSR/AA. There is an issue with cooling.
Who makes your appliance? How old is it?
It's a Samsung French style, year is 2015.
How long has this been going on with your Samsung appliance? What have you tried so far?
Purchased this. When I got it, the refrigerator, the condenser coil with the fan was froze up. Thawed out and ran a cycle for 0 on freezer and 34 for the refrigerator. Note that when got the unit, the defrost cycle was working.
Anything else we should know to help you best?
Now my issue is that when it reached the set point temp, it will quit cooling. The refrigerator and freezer are roughly 20 degrees off.
Hello, this is Brandon, your appliance expert. I am reviewing your question and will respond shortly.
I have some more detail if needed. The Autobot didn't let me finish.
I'm sorry for that. You can tell me anything right now, but I do have a strong suspicion of the cause. This is likely caused by an issue that is all too common with this style of Samsung refrigerator. The defrost system may be working, but the water from the melted frost is likely not draining. The ice and frost block airflow and cause major issues. When the coils automatically defrosts, the water is supposed to drain out to a tray where it can evaporate. When this drain system has problems, the water instead spills out or freezes, and tends to cause a chain reaction of other problems. The main solution for it is replacing the drain tube, part number DA9704049D. It is located in the back of the unit, behind the bottom panel by the compressor. Once that is replaced, the fridge may also need some parts removed from the interior to clear ice that has formed so water can reach the drain in the first place, and if it was built up too thick, it can damage the fan, or water can soak into the foam insulation to the point where the panel needs to be replaced.
First, when I got it, the previous owner stated that this issue not cooling in refrigerator temp hovering around 50-ish degrees. When I got it, the evaporator coil and fan was frozen. I let it sit and settle for an hour before plugging up. When I did, the unit worked and cooled like it's supposed to. I checked a few hours later and the temp got to 55 degrees. The display was saying 34. The same issue was for the freezer. With that being said, I ran a diagnostic code and nothing came up. I did ohm out the thermistor and that checked out according to the temp being around 40 degrees. On a side note, this unit has been cleaned and outdoor temp in a shop was about 82 degrees. I let it run this evening and checked it this morning and temp was back to 34-ish degrees.
Yeah, the temperature sensor for the refrigerator will not read accurately when the ice issue happens. Also, because the area is insulated, it can be left unplugged for a day or two and still have some ice back there, especially in severe cases.
I need to also add, when this unit was in defrost mode when I plugged up, and was accumulated at the bottom by the condenser coil.
When I clear the ice, I usually use a hair dryer to gently warm it up while running the manual defrost mode, while I begin to pry at the edges of the panel. This is after shelves and screws are removed. It can take a half hour or more to melt enough ice to get the panel away without damage. It may drain some water, but the flap on the drain tube tends to stick, and it doesn't quite drain all the way. So after a few hundred defrosts, it can get a lot of ice. If it is draining the water, you may have a sealed system problem or a fan issue causing an uneven frost pattern, which could cause similar problems.
As of right now, there is no ice on the evaporator coil for the refrigerator.
Okay, I'm sorry I jumped to conclusions. Like I said, the issue is very common, so sometimes I get tunnel vision on that one. So we have clear coils, and a display saying the temperature is 34 when it's actually 50 plus.
Sorry, there was not then, not now, I'm not there at the unit. That was the last issue. If I unplug it, wait 30 seconds, it will start running like normal. When it reaches temp, it just won't bring it back down after running for a few hours. When the fridge is off, temp and freezer is off too. Usually by 20 plus. I apologize if I got a little confusing. When I lower the temp, the LED on the inverter don't come on. Noting runs, but if I unplug it, it will reset and start running again.
I see. That may end up requiring a control board then. There are a few of them, but I would suspect the main board, part number DA9402679A.
I did a FF mode and checked the output from the control board to the inverter. It was 1.68 VDC, so that would.
Unfortunately, the tests aren't necessarily reliable because so many issues can be intermittent. That's why I say suspect. Many issues with these involve replacing the most likely culprit and seeing if it works.
Gotcha. Well, I started with the basic. I really didn't have schematics.
Understandable. I hope my information helped. These Samsung refrigerators can be very frustrating. Good luck.
Gotcha, thanks. Can I try this and still be in contact with you?
Yes, the chat stays open for a week after last response. And as long as I have the last comment, it will send me a notification when you next respond.
Okay, thanks. I'll keep updated. This will be updated tomorrow.
Thank you.
Update when I got home at 4. The temp was displaying 0 and 34. Internal temp was close to 50 and 20 for the freezer. I found a way to check the trouble codes and it displayed nothing. I did a force function and the circuit board LED on the inverter came on and compressor and fan worked like it should. I put in normal operation and waited 10 minutes and it cycled normally. Basic diagnostic on my knowledge is that when the temp is reached, it cycles off. It does cycle when called for, it only does it a few times. Then the system will have to be reset with a unplug. Ambient temp outside refrigerator is 85 degrees.
That does sound like a control board issue. It is functioning properly once and then essentially crashing and needing a reboot.
That's what I was thinking after we talked. I know it's hard or your end to troubleshoot issues without seeing things. I just would they Samsung had better schematics. I knew control board will be in Wednesday. I will keep you updated if needed.
Thank you. Luck.
Thanks.
Sorry to keep responding. I don't have anything to add, but if something from me isn't the last thing in the chat I get, customer is still waiting for a response sent to me and it affects certain rating metrics.
If you have a home improvement or appliance question and want to chat with an expert now, visit justanswer.com/YTHI.